A study of victimhood. I had someone stay with me. This lasted for a period of just over 2 years. We'll call him Lars. Lars needed a place to live, and I had planned on renovating my house. It was a perfect match. I provided room and, in many cases, board, and paid him what was agreed upon for his time and talent put towards renovations. In 2 years' time, I was able to work out a few things. One, that he was talented, but at times cut corners. 2, that he enjoyed people, vegetarian food, beer, talk radio, taking the moral high ground, smoking pot and cigarettes. And 3, nothing was ever his fault. He was a victim. Life had not treated him fairly. Never mind that he did little to change that. He borrowed money, never repaying it, spent what he earned at the bar, and never saved for a rainy day. But the rainy days came, as they come for us all. The second person I encountered we'll call Haley. Haley was always threatening to kill herself. She had been abused. She was alcoholic, had been in and out of rehab, divorced, and lost custody of her daughter. Truly tragic. But, like Lars, Haley carried around a victim identity. Everything is everyone else's fault, including God or life that had been so unfair. But did God make her continually drink? Did God make her wallow in self-pity? Is God responsible for her failed marriage? Is life truly cold and uncaring? Or does God help those who help themselves? Doesn't fortune favor the bold after all? Still, every so often I would get a text. Life this, life that. Nothing good happens to me. Nothing good will ever happen to me. I pose the question, what are you doing to change that? The response comes back, nothing. I've tried. It's hopeless. We can be sure of one thing. Doing nothing, nothing changes. We have to change, and we have to change our situation. For this, we need tremendous energy. The problem with victim identities is they require so much energy to keep going. They have no fuel of their own. We have to fuel them. Imagine having to push a car uphill that has run out of gas. A third person I encountered was Mia. Mia was the victim of abuse. She moved out of state to find greener pastures and to escape cruelty, only to discover that poor choices make life harder, not easier. A single mother who survived the death of her child's drug-addicted klepto father now has the responsibility of raising a special needs child with minimal help from the state. These seem like big obstacles, considerable challenges, and they are. But Mia's greatest obstacle is herself and her victim identity that rears its head from time to time. After meeting her, a friend of mine confided in me, it's not going to work out with Mia. She is convinced hers is an impossible situation. She is convinced she cannot work. It suffices to say that Mia's energy is sapped. She is facing real obstacles, but none so great as Mia herself and her story of victimhood. These people think everything is life's fault and not their own, that there is little hope because everything just somehow mysteriously happened to them. They had little involvement and little to do with it. Where some things were, in fact, beyond their control, a great deal was within their control. So what's the problem? What's the solution? The victim thinks of how he or she was wronged, but never how he or she has wronged others, in which case it would all balance out and life would no longer be unfair. After all, how can we condemn others when we ourselves are guilty? This is the whole point of admonishing the one who points out the speck in another's eye, but ignores the plank in their own. If only we took a good look at ourselves, instead of seeking to blame and find fault with others. Allow me to mention one final friend. To say this friend had not had the best home life is an understatement. Natalie fled her abusive parents and home life and sought refuge with caring relatives when she was a teen. The love and care she was unable to get from her parents, she received from them. She grew up, was educated, and developed deep admiration and love for her new guardians. She became a single mom and was doing well. But anger and a desire to cause others suffering because of what she had suffered was still an issue. And in a retaliatory moment, Natalie exercised bad judgment and went to prison. She was separated from everything she loved. After some time, she was released, and as a single mom, began providing for her kids the best she could. Having dreams of being more, Natalie sought to continue her education, which was cut short because she had little to no support and could not pursue classes, work, and raise kids. Now, having a record, her career choices were limited, and she decided her best option was to become an entrepreneur. She started a number of endeavors, pouring energy into each of them, celebrating successes where she could. But something happened which shook Natalie's foundations once again. The relatives who raised Natalie reported her to the authorities for leaving her kids unattended to run a quick errand and for disciplining her oldest child. She felt betrayed by the one family she respected. These, her closest relatives, had meant the world to her, and she was finished with them. Natalie now blamed them. It was their and not her fault. They had acted vindictively. All right, but Natalie had a part in it also. She did not exercise good judgment. Natalie has faced and overcome many challenges and has challenges still to face. But her greatest challenge is dealing with Natalie. When the mind goes to dark places, it is not at all reliable, but is plotting to create more problems for oneself. When self-absorption mingles with self-sabotage, the next of kin to self-pity, it creates a strong cocktail, and our own thoughts hold us prisoner. They keep us victimized instead of empowered, imprisoned instead of free. I spoke to Natalie as I was writing, who said, "You don't become a victim. You either are a victim or you aren't." In one sense, she's right, and another, wrong. We can be truly victimized and not develop a victim identity. That is the point I'm making. We can stop blaming and take full responsibility for life. This doesn't mean that we don't have help or that we don't seek help. We all need help from time to time. What it means is that we stop blaming other people, stop blaming our present on the past. We overcome. We take responsibility for ourselves. We live without a scapegoat. Admittedly, abuse takes its toll, and it makes it challenging to get on with life. In some cases, even to go on with life. But it is possible. I also have been abused. I've been bullied, hunted, humiliated, molested, manipulated, and preyed upon, but I never developed a victim identity. There are much more extreme cases than mine. The point is, it is possible. We have all been wronged, and we all have wronged others. It comes with being human. The irony of the scriptural passage, "The truth will set us free," is that it is actually true. The problem is that the story we continually tell ourselves is not the whole truth. Were we to tell the whole truth, we would have to blame not others, nor the system, nor the powers that be, nor God, but ourselves as well, and that isn't pleasant. But neither is carrying on a victim identity. A characteristic of victimhood, of carrying on a victim identity, is isolation. No one understands. I'm alone, etc. It is true that no one perfectly understands how we feel, but feelings are not facts, nor are they necessarily based in fact. Feelings can be manipulated. We can be made to feel a certain way, and the greatest manipulator of all is the demon of self-pity. There's a line in a song by Pete Townsend of The Who that is quite revealing. In my victim moments, I would find myself humming or singing it. No one knows what it's like to feel these feelings like I do, and I blame you. No one knows what it's like I do. I am a victim. My situation is not to be envied, but pitied, and blame keeps the whole machine going. Without blame, we might just recognize that we are at fault, but free. While I was writing this book, I reached out to my younger sister, Megan. After conversing with her a short while, it became apparent to me that she could make a contribution here that I couldn't. Being both remarkable and practical, Megan has been able to confront a victim identity and call bullshit. She's been able to see through her own poor me and self-deceptive tendencies and those of others, as well as put structures in place to help maintain ruthless self-honesty and relative freedom. Because she had done the work herself and has taken responsibility for her life, because she has recognized both the problem and the solution and has triumphed, she has a great deal to offer others. Here is her story and a bit of what she has been able to recognize, practice, accomplish, and master over time. I was born with every advantage, but always found life overwhelming, an emotional sensory overload tinged with fear and pain that I believed had been unfairly doled out to me. I was told I was too sensitive, but to me the pain was real. Why couldn't other people see what I needed? I expected people to know what I needed, though I never voiced it. I tried setting an example, giving myself 100% to people, and was disappointed again and again. I had needs that needed to be met, but couldn't voice them, didn't think I was worthy of them, and held others responsible for my silent disappointments. If they would only act as I wanted, then I would be happy.